Monday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. The Phillies, well, they're basically losers at this point. They can't win a game. They've lost 4 straight. We'll get into the why the Phillies have lost 4 straight. It is not just because that guy, Bryce Harper, was not playing. There's more to it than that, I'm telling you folks. Plus, we will get into what did Brandon Graham say about the 2 Eagles young pass rushers. All that and more to come here on 97.3 ESPN. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are live as always on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Now, full disclosure, I am not saying anyone should panic. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm not saying doomsday for Philadelphia Phillies. But what I am saying is there are some tangible, legitimate concerns about this team, and you saw every single flaw exposed this weekend. Personally, I chalk up the loss on Thursday night to doubleheader, rain delay, baseball happens. But the Phillies had legitimate opportunities on Friday and Sunday to win the games against the Brewers, and they were unable to capitalize. I take Saturday as a bad day at the office, okay? I was watching the game with some people over on Saturday, and I was thinking, I was turning to people and I said, I just feel like it's a bad day at the office. Like, they made Luzardo be the sacrificial lamb. They trotted him out there to be basically banged around and beat up. I don't look at that game as, see, the Phillies should have. No, I look at that as a bad day at the office. Even Rob Thompson got thrown out of the game because he was tired of it, okay? To me, it was Friday and Sunday were the games they could have had a chance at winning, and they were unable to. And why is that? Well, they lost the games on Friday and Sunday for 2 specific reasons, and it's arguably the team's biggest flaws at this point. Number one, their pitching depth is just not good enough. You know, Mike Gill ran the poll question throughout the day, and I retweeted it at my Twitter, at Josh Hennig. And it was very obvious for Philadelphia that they are a team that is nowhere near complete. So as Mike Gill ran the poll, how far will the Phillies go? 36% have said they will lose in the wild card round. 26% say they will lose in the NLDS. 20% say it is NLCS they will lose. That was my vote, by the way. And 17% say World Series. And the reason why I said NLCS was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, because in my opinion, the Phillies, as currently constructed, won't make a deep postseason run, but I still believe that Dave Dombrowski at some point will be forced to bite down hard and make some trades. And maybe make some trades he did not want to otherwise. Because over the weekend, if you combined Friday and Sunday, the Phillies offense was 2 for 24. 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position. Over the weekend, their bullpen struggled to keep them in games. Part of the reason why Carlos Ruiz was optioned. part of the reason why the Phillies have now officially relegated Taijuan Walker to the bullpen. It is the reason why they are calling up Seth Johnson, even though Seth Johnson has not pitched great in the minor leagues. They are in evaluation mode right now. Because as Todd Zalecki explained on the Philly Show podcast, without Jose Alvarado, this bullpen has went from Major League Baseball bottom 10 to now Major League Baseball bottom 5.
The bullpen has a 4.65 ERA. It ranks 25th in baseball. You take out, and that's with Jose Alvarado. You take out Jose Alvarado, the bullpen ERA is 4.88. So they're, obviously they're worse. No bueno. No bueno. So they got to figure it out.
They do have to figure it out because it's not like they were a run better with Alvarado. This team is currently constructed is not a championship team in the bullpen. They have a great starting staff. That's why they can keep running out and bringing up Mick Abel, and they can send Taijuan Walker to the bullpen. They need to figure out if Walker's going to be an asset for this team in the bullpen. Because if he's not, you got to acquire 2 arms at the deadline. Frankly, you might want to acquire 2 arms anyway, because at some point you cannot be a Major League Baseball team and go into the postseason with Orion Kerkering, Jason Romano, and Matt Strahm and just hope for the best. It's not a good strategy. And now you're starting off a series with Toronto this week, and you have no Zach Wheeler available. Not because of injury, okay? For those who didn't hear, Zach Wheeler, his wife's having a baby. He's on maternity leave. He will not be available for the entire Toronto series. There is a expectation that he would be available to come back for the Pittsburgh series. So my working assumption right now is the Phillies will go with what they plan to, which is Christopher Sanchez on Tuesday. Mick Abel will pitch on Wednesday. Jose Luzardo will pitch on Thursday. If you had to ask me what the Phillies will do, they will probably keep Ranger Suarez on Friday and then go with Zach Wheeler on Saturday. Unless Wheeler is ready to come back sooner, then they'll put Wheeler in Friday and keep Suarez at his originally scheduled day on Saturday. But either way, the Phillies could have used a guy like Zach Wheeler on the mound tomorrow night in Toronto, and instead, they got a lot of young guys. Sanchez, Abel, Luzardo. And it's going to be interesting. Can Philadelphia go up to Toronto? And even though Toronto is not record-wise one of the best teams in baseball, their offense is very formidable. They are top 10 in all of baseball in batting average, on base percentage, and they are a team, an offense, I should say, that's got a lot of scary dudes. A lot of scary dudes in that lineup. When you are among the best in baseball in multiple offensive categories, you are a dangerous team. And Toronto, they are a team that's got some sluggers. Vlad Guerrero Jr., right? You have guys who are having really good years like Bo Bichette out there. Alejandro Kirk, the catcher, is hitting very well this year. This is a very, very dangerous team. And now you are going in there with a bullpen that is not good and a starting staff that is reeling a little bit. And now you got to try to recalibrate and deal with that team. So we know the pitching staff is shorthanded. We know that the offense has gone cold at times again. I mean, for goodness sake, Kyle Schwarber feels like the only guy who is consistently hitting for this team without Harper in the lineup. By the way, Harper expected to come back tomorrow. The other problem with Philadelphia is still the defense. And I am really concerned that this team is just giving me deja vu vibes of 2022 all over again. Because remember, 2022, we were told the offense would out-hit all the other problems, and it didn't. the defense became more and more of a problem. And as you saw this weekend, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, Alec Boehm, all of these guys, Weston Wilson, throw him in there. All of these guys had major issues defensively this weekend. And now you're starting to get a team that has defensive issues, has offensive inconsistency, and needs bullpen help. What are you going to do? And that brings us up to the minor leagues. Mick Abel is being called up this week. But as Keith Law explained on the Mike Gill Show on Friday here on 97.3 ESPN, Mick Abel's first start, do not take that as a good omen. Take it for what it was, his first start.
Abel's got good stuff, like pure quality of pitches. His issue forever has been that he doesn't throw enough strikes. Then he comes up and makes one big league start, and it's like he was possessed by an incubus, and all he does is throw strikes. I mean, yes, I know it was the Pirates. They're not very good. But he was in the zone all day with every one of his pitches. It was phenomenal. I mean, it's one of the best, most exciting debuts. You sort of leave on a successful note. Then he went back to the minors. He walked 4 and 6 innings his next time out because that's kind of who he is fundamentally.
So now are we worried that Abel, pitching against an offense that's got guys like Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette and Alejandro Kirk, some real legit hitters, like these are way better players than he saw with the Pirates, okay? I mean, you're talking about a Blue Jays team who they are currently without one of their best sluggers due to an injury in Dalton Varsho. But they still got George Springer. They still got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They still got Bo Bichette. You know, Santander, he's having a down year, but he is still a dangerous hitter when you let him get on a hot streak. And this young guy, Addison Barger, I mean, oh my goodness, this guy he's got something. He's got the little it factor. And now you have Mick Abel coming up here. Could we be potentially damaging his trade value? Because as Keith Law went on to tell Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN, Keith Law of The Athletic has covered Major League Baseball and the minor league systems for decades now. He talked about how Mick Abel's value is not being one of this team's top few starters. It is as a trade asset or as this.
To me, he is, for this club, he's your sixth starter. He's the guy you call up when you need somebody, but he's not going to beat out any of the 5 existing guys. And if trade deadline comes along and you can get that impact left-handed reliever to replace Alvarado, and the cost is Abel and somebody much less important, like I'd probably do that. As much as I hate overpaying for relievers, it's 4 years now. The command and control are not clearly getting better. And I'm a little skeptical. Like this first start was super exciting. I don't think that's who he really is.
If it's not who he really is, then you better hope and pray and knock on wood or do whatever you do that Mick Abel doesn't implode on Wednesday, because that trade value will go right down the toilet. And then you got to re-explain, well, you know, the Pirates game is who he really is, and him being top 5 in AAA in strikeouts and innings pitched, those are all, that's who he really is. But there's a problem at AAA. Because for as excited as we are about people like Otto Kemp and Justin Crawford at AAA, Ruben Amaro Jr. cautioned on the Phillies Show podcast that looking at AAA pitching is not a good measure this year. And I have to wonder in the back of my mind, when I heard Ruben Amaro Jr. say this on the Phillies Show podcast, are we in a situation where we have some inflated value for some of the Phillies' young players?
The AAA pitching is not very good. And then I know Otto Kemp is going nuts, and it's another guy to sort of consider to try to jumpstart a little bit. Maybe he can play some left field and add to some of the offense, perhaps. But the pitching in AAA is really not very good. I've heard that from many, many, many people, that the pitching in AA is way better even.
That's a concern. Because if Mick Abel's one of the best pitchers in AAA, But then AAA pitching is not that good this year. And if Otto Kemp and Justin Crawford are hitting oh so well, are they going to come to the major leagues, potentially, Kemp or Crawford, and get shell-shocked? And frankly, as Ruben Amaro Jr. points out, Rojas, Marsh, and Kepler and Wilson have combined, all four of them have been so unreliable in the offensive department for a team that needs more reliable bats. Will you be forced to call up Justin Crawford because you don't have another option?
He may be in Philadelphia soon because the outfield production is terrible right now.
Yep.
It's really, really bad. Other than Castellanos, they're not getting a whole lot out of anybody in center and left right now consistently, and he may add some spark. And it'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall inside that, some of those decision-making offices. But he's pushing them.
How do you guys feel about the Phillies after the weekend? How was your sports weekend? That rain on Saturday was nuts. Couple points. I don't know about you guys, but late Saturday night, my electricity blipped for about 5 seconds. And that was after most of the storms have already passed through. That rain Friday night into Saturday was absolutely insane. I hope everyone stayed safe out there listening on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig hanging out in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Coming up on the other side, we'll hear from you guys. Jeff in Ocean City, as well as Matt in Delaware. Your texts and more. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And as always, we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig.
For over 135 years, First Bank of Sea Isle City has proudly served Cape May County with a commitment to maintaining a hometown feel. We provide secure, convenient deposit and loan products every day. We're more than just a bank. We're a trusted community partner, offering personalized banking solutions that make life easier for local families of all ages. First Bank of Sea Isle City. Look for our lighthouse in your neighborhood and discover what makes us different.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Memorial Day savings are here at the Home Depot with free delivery and up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $450 off select appliances like LG. Plan your get-togethers with an LG refrigerator you can count on at the Home Depot. And with the connected ThinQ app, you'll know when to replace the filter. Spend less time worrying this Memorial Day with savings on LG, America's most reliable appliance brand, at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid May 15th through June 4th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
They say no two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app with over 16 million subscriptions sold? Well, we thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. She's an artist and absolutely a visual learner. She's doing a deep dive into our Babbel wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Malcolm is very much a type A, say it to my face, listening learner. So he checks with Babbel's speech recognition to make sure that accent.
Precio.
Keith's a real people person and a curious learner, so he loves Babbel's Culture Bites, full of insights and native knowledge about the language he's learning. Like what's served for Christmas dinner in Germany.
Glühwein, Weihnachtsgans und Christmasstollen.
Wherever you are, however you learn, Babbel is the best choice to break any language barrier. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Legend has it, underneath the NJM insurance offices lies a room of rejected mascot memorabilia. Is it real? No one knows. But we do know NJM is proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. Phillies returning to the diamond on Tuesday as they head to Toronto for a 3-game set with the Blue Jays and looking to snap a 4-game losing skid. Philadelphia was swept over the weekend by Milwaukee, where they fell Sunday 5-2. The NBA Finals will get underway Thursday night in Oklahoma City as the Thunder host the Indiana Pacers for the first 2 games of the series. Both cities looking for their first NBA title. The Thunder have been the top team in the West all season long, led by MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Pacers a 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, coming off a 6-game series with the New York Knicks. And in the NFL, the Eagles and the 49ers finalizing a deal that will send pass rusher Bryce Huff to the Niners for a mid-round pick. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Watch the warm-up. Within a few days, we'll be firmly in air conditioner weather, and the risk of summer-like thunderstorms will return late week 2. Tonight, clear and quiet. Low temperature dips to 56 degrees. We'll get more sunshine tomorrow, warming up to 77 inland, a bit cooler at the coast. Sunny and summer-like Wednesday, high 82, 88 degrees on Thursday with a slight chance of a late-day thunderstorm. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
To me, this is like an information gathering stretch before they get into the trade deadline. You got to see if Taiwan can do it. They've talked a lot about it. We think his stuff is going to play up. We think I want to see what he can do in one inning. Well, now you got to do it now. I mean, they're going to do it now, but you really want to see, can he actually do it? Can he actually be like this mid-season surprise that helps stabilize the bullpen?
It's a lot to ask of a guy who's never done it before. That was Todd Zalecki on the Philly Show podcast asking the question about Taiwan Walker going to the bullpen permanently this time. Yeah, I've been sitting in the studio here, Ocean Casino Resort Studios. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN. I've been listening to Mike Gill for 2 weeks saying, why don't you just put Walker in the bullpen permanently? Call up Mick Abel. Well, they finally did it. Is it going to matter? Well, we're going to find out for the next month. We got about 7 weeks to the MLB trade deadline. So over the next 7 weeks, how much worse does the bullpen need to get before Dave Dombrowski finally pulls the trigger? Give your text right now, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN Mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We got Jeff in Ocean City. Says, let's not forget about the Phillies. They were without their leader this weekend, number 3. I have no Phillies panic. That's from Jeff in Ocean City. Well, Jeff, I can confirm that you have no panic because I was sitting next to you on Saturday watching the Phillies game, and I know that you had no panic sitting next to me. More exasperation from you and your brother than it was actual panic about the Phillies. Now, I will say, Jeff, you are one of the more level-headed Phillies fans out there. You understand that it is a 162-game marathon, and it is not a 16, 17-game sprint like it is in the NFL. So I do appreciate that. I will say, to me, Jeff, part of the problem with the weekend was I remember this team winning games without Bryce Harper in the past. So I'm not fully sure why being without him this weekend would have mattered. Is it the idea that if you already know you're not going to have him, you approach the game differently? You approach, I'm just asking. I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm just wondering and thinking out loud, is the idea that, well, the Phillies were unprepared to be without Harper. Maybe that's part of it. Again, I'm not saying what is or isn't. I'm just kind of just putting it out there. But still a good text from Jeff in Ocean City. I'm going to start with Matt in Delaware, your Phillies point. He said the Blue Jays catcher, Alejandro Kirk, looks like he wobbles. Not to mean to be insulting at all. Look, he is an individual who is wider than tall, okay? But, that to me, Alejandro Kirk is like a throwback catcher, right? He's kind of like the catchers that you saw in like the 80s and 90s a little bit more. Catchers today are just, baseball players in general are, and this is no offense to anyone who played 30, 40, 50 years ago. The caliber of athlete today playing baseball is just ridiculous. Back in the day when you had guys coming up like Ricky Henderson and like, I'm trying to think of some like guys who were like phenomenal athletes back in the day. Your Alex Rodriguez. Who else was a phenomenal athlete who played baseball years ago? Bo Jackson, he played for the Royals and the White Sox. Reggie Jackson was a phenomenal athlete. Like, those guys were not... Oh, Dave Winfield. I forgot about him. Those guys, Tim Raines, like, that wasn't everyone. That was, like, for every 25 men on a baseball team back in the day, maybe 5 to 10 of them were, like, high-level athletes, and the rest of them were baseball players, right? Today, instead of it being 5 to 10 guys on a team, it's more like 15 to 20 guys on the team are high-level athletes, and the rest are pitchers or baseball players. So, to me, I think part of the thing is that, Kirk, to Matt in Delaware's point, doesn't fit in because he looks more like the old-school player and less like the modern player. Shanner in EHC says, Josh, we went to watch the Phillies, and at 17-2, we were mad. Cheesesteak saved the day. Well, cheesesteak. I think you guys, didn't they have gyms up there at the ballpark this weekend? So I hope Shanner and EHT got gyms. Because I saw that during, what was it, Friday night's telecast? They were talking about Jim Steak. I think it was Friday's telecast. They're talking about gyms for only 3 days only. They were having Jim Steaks, those sandwiches at the ballpark. So I hope Shannon and EHC, you got gyms. Because that would really have saved the day. Because when you're losing 17-2, anything positive is going to be a good thing at this point. Matt from Delaware had another question for the NBA Finals. Matt, I'll get to your comment in just a minute at 609-403-0973. When they were losing that game on Saturday, I still chalk it up to once Castellanos and Bohm made those mistakes, which to me, the Castellanos 2 errors were just unacceptable. The Bohm error, it happens, right? But the Castellanos mistakes, it was almost like the team, their morale just died at that point. Like their morale for that game went completely down the tubes. And yeah, they fought back to make it a 17-7 game. But at that point, you were already cooked. Like, it didn't matter. I mean, you had Weston Wilson coming in, throwing eephus pitches, hoping to get through 2 innings of the game. So, to me, that's why I don't even look at the game on Saturday as a game I even consider for anything. Jeff in Ocean City follows up and says, remember John Kruk said, lady, I'm not an athlete, I'm a ball player. Yes, yeah, I do remember that. Although, with the 93 Phillies with Macho Rowe, some of those dudes, they might not have been like elite athletes, but I'm pretty sure that, Darren Dalton, Pete Incaviglia, Lenny Dykstra, with or without the juice, I think some of those guys probably could have played some other sports or at least been pro wrestlers, right? One of the things we mistake about baseball players is that we do forget they do play other sports when they're younger. You have guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson and, John Elway, Tom Brady. Like, there's been a lot of football players who were drafted as baseball players, but they chose to play football. I think it was Tom Glavine was drafted to play hockey, and he played baseball instead. So, it's this weird fine line when it comes to baseball where a lot of guys have played baseball, but not everyone excels at baseball. Speaking of other sports, Matt in Delaware chimed in at 609-403-0970. He says, Josh, I was really hoping the NBA Finals goes 5 close games or 6. I can see the Pacers hitting lots of shots for at least 2 wins in this series. As a basketball fan, it would be a buzzkill to see OKC sweep and curb stomp them. That's from Matt in Delaware. Matt, there's 2 separate issues with the NBA Finals, at least for me. Number one is, as you said, you don't want to see an OKC team that unexpectedly dominated the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that had been to 2 straight conference finals, get manhandled the way they did. That's number one. Number 2, I don't know. I honestly don't think it's going to be a sweep. But I think the bigger problem with the NBA Finals is I think there's a lot of people who are just not going to watch, Matt. I really do. I think there's a lot of people who are looking at this game on, what's the first game? Thursday. First game is Thursday. Game 1 right here on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30. This series is not looking very appetizing for a lot of people. And I think the low viewership is going to, it's not going to be irreparable damage to the NBA, because I don't think the NBA is in this isn't hockey 15 years ago where the sport was just dying on the vine of popularity. Like, this isn't that for the NBA. But this is a very major wake-up call for the league that you have a guy who won the league MVP, who I think there is still a chunk of fans who have no idea who he is. And my mind goes back to the Milwaukee Suns series a couple of years ago when the Bucks and the Suns played in the NBA Finals. And there was a huge contingent of fans who knew who Giannis Antetokounmpo was, but they didn't realize who he was, what he was. And it was like the first time they ever saw this guy. And the viewership for even that series was not great. But at least people were like, all right, we know who these guys are, right? At least there was a feeling of when you looked at Giannis and others where you were like, all right, I am at least aware who these guys are. What was interesting about that series is that if you actually go by the numbers, that series, the viewership got better as the series went on, which is in and of itself very, very odd. So, I think what's interesting is that I don't know if that's going to happen this time because, again, that series went 6 games. Can the Pacers OKC series be a series that builds interest, viewership, eyeballs? Now, some people argue that part of the reason why that series had to build viewership was because the first 2 games were in the middle of the week, Tuesday and Thursday. This time, it's going to be game 1 on Thursday, game 2 over the weekend. So, can you have a building viewership? Now, also, we should keep in mind, finals viewership has been going down. Before the last couple of years, Warriors Celtics saw a huge rebound in viewership. Last year's Celtics Mavs series had better than expected viewership numbers. We saw very good viewership numbers for the Heat Nuggets, even though that's not 2 traditional NBA cities. But before the last few years, the bubble NBA finals in the middle of October and September didn't do that great. But before that, Golden State Toronto was good. So can OKC Indiana be a series that builds on viewership? Or is it going to be a viewership that's going to tank? Because realistically, every NBA finals, if you remove the bubble year, okay, I'm just removing that year altogether. If you remove the bubble year, every year the NBA Finals has at least 1 game with double-digit million viewers. Every single year. The last time you didn't have double-digit viewers every single night, if you take out the bubble year, was when the year the Spurs swept the Cavs. And which might surprise people because, LeBron James, blah, 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 but it was only 4 games, and there was a lack of anticipation for that series. So my question to Matt in Delaware's point is, Matt in Delaware wants to get a good series. I don't know how people are going to watch the series because I think there's a contingent of fans who are just going to be completely disinterested. Paul from Millville chimes in at 609-403-0970. He says, Josh, it's been a tough couple weeks in sports nationally when John Cena's retirement tour with the title is the most entertaining event in sports. Paul in Millville, I got to say, I am someone who enjoys the entertainment and the storylines, all that comes with pro wrestling. I got to tell you, I got fatigue with the John Cena retirement tour with the belt. Because for me, so just pull it back here let's compare it to the NBA Finals. It's a cool idea when the NBA Finals is 2 teams that you didn't expect, when it is 2 young up-and-coming superstars. Like, it sounds good on paper. But if the story doesn't deliver, if it's not executed in a way that gets you excited, that's not a good thing. That's really, really bad. And right now, when it comes for the NBA Finals, I do see it a little bit like the John Cena retirement tour. Because for me, I would love to be more invested in this whole thing with John Cena, okay? But looking ahead to the upcoming pay-per-views, like Money in the Bank and Evolution and SummerSlam and what's before the end of the year, Survivor Series and all this stuff, I just got to be honest. I'm looking at Cena and I'm just like, I don't want him to have the belt anymore. And it's kind of like how I think a lot of fans looked at the Spurs versus the Cavs NBA Finals all those years ago when a lot of people didn't watch it, which is you kind of already know the result. Like, I really wanted Cena to lose at Backlash. So, Randy Orton would have another belt win in front of his hometown crowd. And it would be a great opportunity to create something new coming out of this John Cena's the villain thing. And there was a part of you that looked at the Cavs Spurs and you were like, man, I know the Spurs are going to win this series. The Cavs are hopelessly outgunned. LeBron did an amazing job carrying this team, but you just wanted to see LeBron win a game or two to make it interesting. And the Spurs just utterly punked them. It seemed like every single night. I know a couple of those games were close. I totally get that. But it felt like watching the games, there was no chance the Spurs had of losing any of the games in that series. I think it depreciated the value. And I think one of the reasons why the Bucks and the Suns series built the way it did was because there was this attitude of, this is an interesting series. This is a very interesting contrast. Is Giannis going to come back? And when Milwaukee won that third game by 20, it was kind of like, whoa, we got a series here. How the Suns going to respond? And when Milwaukee went on to win 4 straight, and Giannis flexing at the end of what was it, game 6, flexing in front of the camera and getting all excited, like it was like you built to a moment, like a good wrestling storyline. And I feel like right now with John Cena, we're not building to anything. We're all just kind of like sitting around being like, oh, okay, he saw the belt. Who cares? Like, I think that's where a storyline driven entity like WWE maybe loses traction for me a little bit, Paul Millville, because John Cena's retirement tour with the title has gotten boring. Like the Spurs winning 20 years ago got boring. And so for me, you want me to get reinvested in John Cena's retirement tour? I need him to lose. I need him to get embarrassed. I need something to happen. That's the same with this NBA Finals this year. To Matt and Delaware's point, we need an interesting series. We need Halliburton and Siakam and all those boys to come out and fight to prove they belong in this finals, because you don't want history to tell the story of the OKC Thunder winning their first NBA championship. You don't want that story to be, well, they beat a team that didn't belong there. You look at the history of NBA Finals. The most lopsided odds for an NBA Finals over the years. This Thunder Pacers team is going to be an all-timer. Sixers were huge underdogs versus the Lakers. That's the biggest underdog of all time. Next was the Warriors-Cavs series. Now, that was the year that they had Durant, the Warriors, okay? And then they beat the Cavs. The next biggest gap was the Bulls Supersonics 96. That was the Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Dentless Shrimp Supersonics. But I felt like that number was pretty unfair. Knicks Spurs in 99. That was the lockout year with the shortened season. Then you had the Pacers Lakers in 2000. That was the older Pacers team with Reggie Miller, Rick Smits. They got blasted by the Lakers. The Nets, basically those 3 Lakers teams, we're considering them a dynasty. But when you look back on it, they were playing some teams that had no chance against them. And now the Pacers are again plus 700 underdogs. 25 years ago, they're plus 800 underdogs. I don't want to see a blowout. If the Pacers can't give us anything interesting, like at least back in 2000 when the Sixers won that first game, there was some energy, like, all right, maybe the Sixers can do something. Now they obviously end up losing the series in 5 games, but there still was a part of you that was like, hey, they won the first game. Paul from Millville says, I guess those R-Truth matches aren't doing it for you. I'm seeing what you're saying, though. LOL. Listen, the R-Truth thing would have been fun if R-Truth, like, beat him by accident. You know what I mean? Like, if John Cena tried to pull some sort of, like like villainous move, and like it backfired on him, and R-Truth like accidentally like knocked him out, and then he like won, and it was like by accident. Then the R-Truth match would have been like, oh, this is wild. Like I can't believe R-Truth. Like it would have been funny that like John Cena, the villain, gets humbled, and now Cena has to eat humble pie, and he has to apologize to WWE Universe, and then like Cena would like, not apologize. He would challenge R-Truth the very next night to another match, and they would beat R-Truth fair and square, and he'd be like, see, it was a fluke. It was not real. I'm the real, like you could have done a whole thing with it, but you didn't. It's just, like, no. All right, enough of that. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Yeah, I'm a big believer in, I want my athletes, I want my sports to be interesting. I don't like blowouts. I don't like pure domination, because then it's like, what are we going to talk about the next day? Man, that OKC team, they drafted really well. That's a horrible conversation the next day. More of your text coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. And we are live as always on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig.
This is the NBA Finals.
When you get to this point of the season, it's two teams and it's one goal. It becomes an all or nothing thing.
Alexander burying a three. The Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Finals. Coverage of Game 1 begins Thursday at 7:30 Eastern.
Listen to the NBA Finals, Game 1, exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Business owners everywhere are raving about ZipRecruiter's new feature, Zip Intro, which does the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates to meet with you as soon as the next day. So we decided to call up some of these employers and hear their stories. Today, we're on the phone with Pilates studio owner Crystal M. Harris. Crystal, how has Zip Intro helped you hire?
Well, I was opening a Pilates studio in McDonough, Georgia, and I needed to staff up quickly. Zip Intro did the work for me. It helped me find enthusiastic candidates who matched my qualifications perfectly.
That's great.
Yeah, I had my Zip Intro session on Tuesday, did all the interviews by Thursday, sent out the offers on Friday, and they started on Monday. Because Zip Intro did most of the work, I saved so much time.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, you can try Zip Intro for free right now at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Get Memorial Day savings now at the Home Depot with free delivery and up to 40% off. Plus up to an extra $450 off select appliances like Whirlpool. Store dinners and keep your coolers iced for sports practice with the large storage and ice capacity of a Whirlpool refrigerator from the Home Depot. Celebrate Memorial Day with savings on select appliances right now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid May 15th through June 4th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. 'Cause I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Oh, O'Reilly.
Stay cool this summer with AC Pro Refrigerant at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro Refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. If your vehicle's AC is blowing hot air, beat the heat with AC Pro. Visit your O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now, there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion. Not so easy now, huh? For a fresh way to Frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Oreo is a trademark of Mondelez International Group. Pop-Tarts is a trademark of Kellogg North America Co., LLC, used with permission.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with AutoPay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Do you disregard people's personal space? Sitting next to people in public, even if there are tons of open seats? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's 72-hour sale is happening now. Save up to 72% off on top brands with queens starting at $149.99. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or mattressfirm.com for details.
The Piccalilli Inn is known for their world-famous wings, comfort food, and being an all-American roadhouse with real country charm. Bring it home with Piccalilli Inn catering for graduation parties or backyard barbecues. Build your own custom packages for any size party, or hire the wing wagon for festivals and large events. Skip the lane chains and order catering from the Piccalilli Inn. Visit Piccalilli.com.
If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Nolan, for sure, he got the torch right now. I mean, that room changed drastically real fast. With now he's the guy. Sweaty gone, myself, Milt left, all the guys, everything, all signs pointing is Nolan Smith, who got to take a big leap. He already did in the playing wise. Now he got to make sure that they vocally you address stuff that need to be addressed, because we got to make sure we practice in a certain way, making sure it's looking a certain way.
That was Brandon Graham on the Ross Tucker podcast. He was talking about Nolan Smith having to be the guy now, having to step up. And I think a beautiful example of Nolan already kind of filling that role, filling that void that BG was talking about right there with Ross Tucker was we've already seen video of Nolan Smith. He is out there running in drills with this huge brace on his arm. Remember, he had tricep tear in the Super Bowl, and he had to have the same type of surgery that BG had. Well, that was February. This is May. He's on the field with this huge brace running around. And listen, this is not a negative against anyone else, okay? I get it. Devonta Smith almost never comes to OTAs that are voluntary. And Landon Dickerson had his reasons for not being there for one of the couple days. And same with Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship. And, you know, I know that Cam Jurgens, he's still getting dealing with a back injury. But nothing against those guys. But Nolan Smith saying, I could sit out. I could not be here. I could be the guy who doesn't practice, but I'm going to anyway. I think that is an example of when BG says this about Nolan Smith being a leader.
He got to be able to lead by example and what he do on that field, and then they gonna want to hear him a little more this year, especially because he won one and he was in it last year. And he took that next step. Now he got to take that next step of leadership, and I think he will.
Part of that next step is specifically what you're going to see this year. How much are we going to see of Nolan Smith taking that next step? Remember, we're going to have Hard Knocks this year. In season. Are we going to have some great viral moments of Nolan Smith rallying the locker room, getting the guys on board? Or is it going to be Nolan Smith maybe working through some things as a new team leader? I think the only positive to take from this also is another positive from this is, remember, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, these guys won a national championship at college. And a lot of those guys have to come back next year and play again. So they have been champs. Even if it's only in college, know what it takes to be the hunted again. So you have to wonder, does that experience in college help guys like Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter and others help this team as they bridge this gap, losing so many veterans like Brandon Graham, like Josh Sweat, like Darius Slay? I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Town Square Media has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Get these great deals today. Get a $50 gift card for just $25 at the Ravioli House or Tennessee Avenue Beer Hall. Get these great deals right now at seizethedeal.com. Don't wait any longer. Chances are these deals will sell quickly. For more info on these great deals, go to seizethedeal.com.